Okay, if there's more Q&A, we can maybe do it later. What we're going to do now is that we've got Rutvik Khare, and I shared his profile. He's been officiating with Deccan Cliffhanger since he was a little bacha, if you saw his photos. The first time I met him was at a 400 BRM in Pune when he was a volunteer or for the BRM. And at the turnaround point, he was the one who stamped my card and stuff. And after that, we've done a whole bunch of things. He's been there for Cliffhanger. He's been there for like, from officiating, he's moved on to crewing. And he's got a whole vast range of experience. So one of the things that I realized in my conversation with Sapna was that Sapna has had A1 rider to crew for. And the team, Sapna and Kabir, the team is like, it's it's a beautifully organized machinery between the two of them that they have. And Sapna has no clue like about the kind of things that I faced with all my diverse crewing with racers from all around the world and everything. So I thought that I would have Rutvik and Darshan. Darshan has also joined us. I'll introduce Darshan in a little bit. So they're here to give you a little bit more about what kind of things you can expect when things don't go so smoothly, when you don't have Sapna for your crew chief. Yeah, thanks, Sapna, and over to you, Rutvik.
Yeah, thank you, Sapna, for going in an extreme detail of what crewing is like. And as she very correctly mentioned, that things are destined to go wrong while crewing, and I completely agree with that. I mean, things are going to go wrong. The main reason for it is that everyone is going to be operating in such a stressful environment that someone is going to forget something, someone is going to do something wrong, and it's always a good idea to anticipate that something is going to go wrong. I guess what sets aside good crews from not so good crews is this ability to anticipate what might go wrong and how we could tackle something that is going to go wrong. I guess a lot of people in this group who have like some experience in IT or commercial risk and stuff like that would know what a risk matrix is. But I'll just share a picture on the group if I can.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So what I usually do is we just sit around the entire crew and the racers, and we create a list of potential incidents that might happen during a race, and we place each of these incidents on a matrix like this. So I'll just explain as to what the matrix is and how we do it, and then we can go about doing an exercise kind of a thing, wherein we can just put in incidents that you guys think might happen during your race, and how we can go about to mitigate these issues. So the first thing is to create a list, as I said, then putting each of the incidents on this matrix, and then creating a plan to tackle issues. What we have been doing around with a lot of my crew members is that we create groups of incidents, like all the high risk incidents, then the low risk incidents and the moderate risk incidents that might happen in a race, and then decide to choose what kind of plans we want to make. So obviously, all the incidents that we think are high risk, we would create intricate plans and discuss them, at length with our crew members, and try to create an atmosphere and environment which is like really easy to deal with, and anticipate that this is a high risk situation and we have to deal with it in a certain way. Whereas we might just not even have plans for low risk incidents at all, because we think that it's very unlikely that these incidents might actually happen in the course of the race. Lastly, one thing that a lot of people don't factor for is the racer's personal preference. So it is really important that the crew member looks at all the incidents through the racer's lens, kind of, because the racer might look at situations in a completely different perspective as to what crew members might. And we'll just see that in one of the few examples that I have for you.
Do you want me to stop the screen share?
No, actually, that'd be on there, so we can just do kind of an exercise thing with other people also pitching in what they might think would have happened.
Okay.
So let's look at a very simple example as to, you lose a sip bottle before the race. Now, if you look at the matrix on the top, on the x-axis is it's the impact, and on the y-axis is the likelihood. So let's take an example of losing a water bottle before the race. Now you're running around, there's multiple cars, there's multiple things to do. It's very likely that you might lose a water bottle before a race, but the impact it's going to have on your race and on the racer, it's very low or negligible for that matter. So, one might not even have a plan of what to do in such a situation because you might have multiple water bottles sitting around. But if you look at through the racer's point of view, as I said before, it might be his favorite water bottle, or it might be a water bottle that was gifted to him by someone or something like that. Then apparently the impact of this incident might be higher than what the crew was expecting. It might be moderate or even like significant, because the racer might just get upset that, oh, it was my favorite bottle and we lost it and I wanted it and stuff like that. So it's really important that you understand what the racer thinks is important for him, and then create all these plans. Another example is in race around Austria, one of the bikes we were supposed to be carrying from India, they got damaged during transit, but luckily we had like an intricate plan as to how we would deal with damage to equipment and bikes during transit. So if you just put that scenario in this matrix, the likelihood of such an event occurring was unlikely, is what we decided. And interestingly, the impact of this unlikely event would be significant and severe, because it would just impede our motive to race around Austria. So our plan was to buy really premium bike insurance for transit, and checking requirements with airlines, and consulting professional bike mechs to pack our bikes. And one of the bikes, out of the two bikes that we were supposed to carry, one of the bikes was significantly damaged to a point where we couldn't use it. But because we had this plan beforehand, it wasn't a running around situation. We knew what was to be done. Call the insurance agency, tell them what had happened, make a report, file a report, and claim for the cost of the bike. In the meantime, we had one bike to work with and get the race started. And by the time we received the compensation for the bike that we lost, one of the crew members could actually drive by and get a new bike for a racer and get it fitted to his standard. So in my opinion, creating plans and going through these things with your crew members is extremely important. And yeah, things will definitely go wrong. So do you guys think of any incidents that you would want to discuss in this group, or we can do an exercise kind of a thing?
So one of the most common things, and this is even mentioned in a couple of the RAM books written by crews and racers about their RAM experience and how to prepare and stuff, is losing car keys.
Yeah. So let's just put it in this thing, like losing car keys is very likely the impact is going to be significant, because you just impede the forward motion of the cyclist. So then the plan would be to have spare keys made before you go on the race, and keeping keys on specific persons, like only specific persons will carry around keys, and they'll keep them in only specific locations, like a backpack pocket or something like that. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
the plan for you.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to plan this, and you have to, anticipate that this sort of a situation will happen. So your backup key has to be, somewhere, and invariably you will still have things happening, like the person with the backup key is somewhere else at the time that you lose your key in one position. So these things happen, and the best you can prepare for this sort of thing.
Also,
Um,
there's one more thing is that you can't anticipate each and every incident to happen. I mean, something somewhere might happen that you'd never thought of. And in such situations, what has been helpful for us is having an emergency fund, as in a spare $1,000, or if you're racing in India, a spare $20,000 kept with 20,000 rupees kept with someone, just in case to be used in an emergency, or when you don't know what's to be done, where to run, what do I do? Just have kind of an emergency fund. What we found safe to do was to keep this fund with the racer's friend or a racer's family member, so that they have kind of a responsible authority towards using this fund, and then you can just tell them that this is happening, we need to access this fund, and if they think it is good, or if it's right to use that fund, then we can have access to that.
So,
Yeah.
Rutvik, why don't you share? I just remembered about Shrini's Ultra Spice incidents with the car.
Yeah, so we had 3 vehicles at Ultra Spice, and one of the vehicles had a massive crash, as in one of the drivers who was driving the car at night didn't see a bus stop while going up the Climanuti and crashed into it. And we honestly did not have a plan to deal with it, because the most we had factored in was a car getting some sort of an issue, like a puncture, or it's just like some towing issue that we might have to do. But what we had thought of is anything can be repaired, but the car was beyond repair. So we had to actually get our crew back we had to get taxis for our crew to get to Bangalore and fly back to Goa. And 2 of the crew members were extremely excited, and they had this positive vibe to them, that as soon as they reached Goa, they hired a car, they drove back on the road, and they joined the race within like 24 hours. So having a positively motivated crew actually helps the racer, even in like situations like these. um it was quite shocking that one of our cars had an accident, and the race actually potentially stopped for us for a couple hours, as in all of us had completely halted as to think over what had happened, and did we even want to go ahead, because our racer was extremely afraid even to go ahead with the race. And we had to sit him out for a couple of hours, get him some sleep, give him the motivation that yes, we understand that something has happened, but we are confident that we can make this race happen. And we went ahead and finished the race. I think it was a podium finish, and it was also a record for the Ultra Spice until that year. So
yeah, in spite of all that, he won the race. And the thing is that when this happened, they tried to. That was Srini's car. It was his own car.
It was
that
his
he
own
had
car.
got. So they tried to make sure that he doesn't see it. But while they were like trying to figure out how they can prevent him from seeing it, he landed up right at the spot and
right
saw it.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But the thing is that you can't anticipate something like this. And even if you do mentally say, okay, if such and such situation happens, I get a taxi, I do this, that, you can't say when, what time of day, where,
Yeah.
What would be the situation at that time? Is there a backup vehicle or not? So some of these things you just have to accept that, but this is the reason why we repeatedly, I mean, an incident like this is off the charts. And also it is something that you guys need to be really cautious about, is the safety issues, your drivers. Even for our official team, we are super careful about choosing who drives, because you're going to be driving day and night, and the fatigue will come in. But if you start off being a careless driver, then that, we don't even have to wait for fatigue. You're going to do something. So really choose your drivers, make sure that they're really safe drivers. Nobody needs to be fast in this race. Yes,
Yeah.
Ruthik.
And secondly, what Sapna said, like doing your homework before you get into the race is extremely important. What helped us in that particular situation is that we had a list of all the taxi services in and around Ooty. So we could actually just, start calling up taxi services as in, hey, we need a taxi. Can you come in? Can you come here? Can you pick up all this stuff from us? And we had everything ready. So within an hour and 30 minutes of the crash, we already had a towing vehicle present where the crash had happened. We already had two of our crew members in the hospital, having them, giving them the care that they needed. And we already had a taxi on its way to Uti to pick up the rest of the crew members and the rest of the stuff that was sitting in there. So, doing your homework, having information ready about the route and the services around the route is extremely important in such situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ruthvik. Any questions? Yes, Amol. Actually, you know what, Amol, I'm going to we'll do the second and the third speaker. And then we'll take Q&A at the end of the session for everyone. Thanks, Ruthvik. We have one more person here who is also an Inspire India, Divya Tate Ultra Crew Award winner. He's done six times that he's crewed for Inspire India races and at RAM itself, and he's done VRAM as well after that. And he's also a racer himself. So he's actually put aside his, taken out the time from his own racing goals and things to be dedicated and committed to Bharat's evolving ultra cycling journey, to Bharat's ambitions. And Darshan Dubey has, been with Bharat from the very first day that Bharat turned up. Thanks a lot for being here, Darshan.
Hi, Divya. Thank you for having me, first of all. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Nice to see how many people have joined in. Sorry, I missed out the earlier session, but I've gone through the rest of the 7 episodes that we've already done. And it has been quite comprehensive to cover exactly what goes behind the scene and what needs to be done. So kudos to your effort as well. Right. So today, I thought I might as well share a couple of thoughts about what I've been up to and what all have been my learnings in these past 5 years or so. The one of the things that maybe there are like enough number of technicalities related to this whole sport. And it is not just related to the cycling part, it is related to the rest of the things as well. So I'm just going to cover a couple of things. First of all, the rider and crew members' temperament, and then I'm going to delve into exactly what sort of team that one needs to put together to do a successful event. Fortunately enough, in the past 6-7 odd events that I've done, be it competitive or non-competitive, I believe that I've had a taste of a couple of riders wherein I've been able to, do all my events successfully. Even the very first one wherein I was just a crew member, and later on I've always been a crew chief. So managing the team and ensuring that everyone is doing their own part has been also a thing that taught us enough to understand exactly how the rider reacts to everything. So it might be the case that people here might have heard about exactly how irritated a rider might be. And also, of course, you can anticipate that using, say, what Rutvik had to share earlier, that, you put everything that can go wrong into a grid and then address it accordingly, considering what sort of impact does it have on this whole race. Does it need to be addressed immediately or not? But I would go one step further and say that it again depends on what sort of rider do you have. So recently enough, I hope everyone has seen Kabir's video that he had put out about his attempt at the Himalayan Ultra race. And in it, one of his crew member, his dear friend, mentioned about how at a training ride, he unfortunately had a crash with the rider. Now, Kabir is from what I've heard, of course, I've never crewed for Kabir, but again, he's a jolly guy. And from what I've heard about from his crew and say all the rest officials as well, that he's a pretty chill guy. He's pretty cool, calm, always, even if he is like competing against anyone else. However far he might be, however competitive and nearby these races are, he's like pretty composed and calm, and get things done from his crew. The crew and his chemistry is like that way. But I have crewed for someone who was like exactly opposite of this. So someone who, instead of calmness, would want to make the crew work on their tiptoes, so that ensuring that everyone is like delivering at their 100, maybe 110%.
Are you talking about Bharat?
Not just Bharat. Again, as I said, fortunately enough,
You're right,
Bharat is a
Divya.
talented guy, but I've crewed enough with other races as well. I've crewed at RAM with Jeff Brunner. I've crewed at DC in a 2% team, wherein one guy was like, so the temperament of these people are like, they are not just competitive. What drives them is the whole, they try and find something or the other, not just from the situation, but maybe from their life experiences, maybe from their memories, maybe what is happening currently. And this is not just the impact or the effect of the stress of the race. Few times the motivation, I believe Divya has seen enough finishes across the races, and the racers sharing their experience at the end of the race, and then they might share exactly what sort of thing inspired them throughout the race. But then there are like a couple of riders who would draw or bring their whole motivation by just ensuring that everyone, I don't know what you call it, maybe it's an alpha personality, wherein they would want everyone to be, supporting them whenever that they need. And it's not the other way around. If these guys, they draw inspiration, motivation from the anger that they have, maybe the experiences that they had, the frustrations that they might have. And it depends again. It's in I've crewed at DC twice, and those are only one-day events. The rest have all been at least 4 days to 12 days. And it comes in phases. It goes, it wanes, and it again comes up. And then you, as a crew member, have to ensure that you are reflecting exactly what the rider needs at all times. So as a crew member, I would suggest that you do enough conversation with the rider. You do enough. Of course, if you're a rider and if you're trying to do multi-day events, again, it would be better if you know yourself, what motivates you, what drives you. Because there have been at least a couple of riders that I've crewed for who were in denial that they would be able to finish, and then they're just given up. But then how do you tackle that as well? So there are like telltale signs while talking to the rider as well, before the race, before the event, even while talking, if the rider is like, even if the whole plan A is to do a record time or maybe do the podium, and plan B would be just to finish in time. Now that is a telltale sign that the rider is like over his head, and then maybe the preparation is not there, and the whole goal is okay, theek hai, ho jata hai to theek hai. Now there one needs to have a conversation with the rider and ensure that we have a concrete plan B, because people who are competing at the podium are at least, I'd say, looking at what Bharat has been doing, what Kabir has been doing, they are at least a year or two ahead of you. So maybe looking at the current scene in ultra cycling, maybe one would have to put enough years and time into training to be at their level. Of course, I'm not at all saying that no one would be able to compete at that level, but of course, one has to be realistic exactly how you plan, because it is easier to give up on those ideas if it seems far too enough. So from personal experience, I can say that at DCA 2018, when I had participated, I was aiming at 28 hours, and I ended up doing it 36 and a half hours. So I had almost given up. Although my crew was smart enough, they told me the cutoff is at 7 a.m. at a turnaround point in Belgaum, I believe. So I ensured that I reached there at 7:15 or so, because I had already given up. I said, no, I don't want to do it. And then they were like pestering me and they tried motivating me. But still I made sure that I reached that place at the turnaround point beyond 7 p.m. And later on, I found out that the cutoff time was at 8 a.m. So I had a bath there. I tried refreshing myself, and then again the crew motivated me enough to finish the race at the end of the day in the evening. Although everyone was having a beer at the time that I had reached the finish point, but at least I have a story to tell. I ensured that I finished my race. The crew was there for me. Although, however, in experience that they might have been then, they knew exactly how to motivate the rider in the state that he or she is in at that point. So one, as a crew member, one has to ensure that they are aware exactly what sort of temperament that the rider has, and how to address each and every kind of issue that the rider might face. So that's that. I'll move on to the next thing that I wanted to share is about the team members in itself. I believe most of us might have watched enough sports in the past 3 weeks at the Olympics, and one has to realize that because I have been watching these team events, and then I draw a few parallels for exactly how we as a team in an ultra cycling event do our races, do our events. And from it, I can just say that although one might seem, because most of the riders have an attitude, or they might say, I've done a 600 BRM, 1000 BRM, and then if I'm able to do, say, 600 BRM under 36 hours, then if I have someone to feed me and give me some drinks on the way, might as well be able to do it under 26 hours. So it seems easy, but it's not. And it might be for you, but that's good. But you're taking a good amount of risk while doing that, with having a crew which is not very well set up. If you're thinking about someone like what I had did with my attempt again at 2018, although I could have learned more from my experience from 2017's race, wherein I had Divya as my crew chief. We were doing a race around Austria, and it was a 2% team. I was riding with Bharat in a relay format. I could have drawn a few things from there, but in 2018 I was strained on time, and I wasn't in touch with most of the community, and I couldn't identify most of crew members at the last minute. So I had to jumble up a crew from a couple of my 5 million members, one of my close friend who were like complete novice to this whole thing. Again, big mistake. But at least when, say, someone like Sapna and Rutvik are sharing about their thoughts, exactly what all goes into a race planning, there is enough amount of thought that needs to be given while executing those plans. So once, if you say that there are enough, I'd say, men out there who have this thing in there, they have to prove their, should I say, masculinity by saying that if you want to drive, I can drive for 24 hours straight. If you want me to drive, I can drive for 48 hours straight. Again, that's a big no-no. And
it's not just men.
Not just men? Okay. Good to know that.
I really agree and support that.
Right. So And then again, there are a few people who wouldn't want to get into chores, and then they would just stick to the driving, which is again a bad sign, because even if they're fatigued, they're trying to get through the whole thing. The most important thing here is that the rider needs to feel safe while riding in front of a vehicle. Now that is a skill. So one might not be the best driver around the city, but if the rider feels safe riding in front of a car, then that driver is a good driver. And that is what the rider or the whole team should be looking for. Even if it is a secondary vehicle, one needs to follow all the, not just the traffic rules out there, but all the RAM or Inspire India rules while doing a leapfrog. So one needs to get familiar, and here is where the training rides would help you. So go out there, try different riders, try different drivers who would be able to drive behind you, because it might seem simple if you are doing a if you're riding in front of a car, and if someone is like using too much of clutch and then revving too loud, if that clutch just slips off, then you're just ramming into the rider. It could be the case that they are driving in neutral. If they miss out the brake on a downhill, now that is again scary, and this has happened. So just to catch up with the rider, driving downhill is a very difficult task. If you have the liberty to go downhill in front of a car, do that. It'll always help you. I believe you've already had a couple of sessions about nutrition. Now, following a plan is one thing, and executing it is another. So it is very dynamic. If it is a hot day, you would need more water in the body. If it is not that hot day, and if you're feeding too much electrolyte, the body will react differently. So you need a learned, skilled person who would be able to address it. Right. So again, training rides would help. The rider's own historical experiences while riding in different weathers would help you. Keeping a note of things. If you're doing a multi-day event, say something like Ultra Spice, which is a 4-day event, the rider's body would react differently in the heat on the coastal areas in the first day, and it would react differently in the second or third day while you're in the mountains. Again, in the 4th day, while coming back, you're again on the coastal roads. The heat will be a factor. So all I'm saying is that while identifying the crew members, you need to ensure that they don't just stick to the plan, but are aware exactly what needs to be done. So that is a skill set that one needs to, if there is if one of your crew members is curious enough to explore these things, encourage them, ask them to read more, discuss these things with them, because most of the riders would be aware of these. They try and seek this information just to improve their performance. They would have some nutritionist, they would have someone as a coach who would guide them this whole thing through them, but ensure that these people are onboarded on those things. As a crew chief, if you want to identify that's someone with you would want to have someone who is like a good leader. Now that's a very easy thing to say, but someone who would be able to manage this whole team, ensuring that there are no fights going on, because there are very, very minor issues, as again Rutvik had mentioned about the matrix, and even if it is the most negligible thing, most insignificant thing, would come up time and again between the crew, and they would point out, "Acha, tune tab ye nahi kiya tha, tune tab wo nahi kiya tha," and then because of this bickering, there could be infighting. So the crew's temperament also. Ideally, one would say that one should have a crew who knows each other, but I have been in crews who have grown to each other over the period of time. So that I believe that is the best case, because even if you know all the people in the crew, you know each other's flaws as well. And there could be people who might not be okay sharing a vehicle for the rest of the 4 days, also an hotel room. So that is not a given. If you say that if everyone knows each other, then that would be the best crew. No, you need to have the skill sets. You need to have enough people who know what they're doing, and then they should know exactly. If you're able to plot it on the matrix, then great. But then one should be aware what is the larger goal, what needs to be done at what time, what needs to be addressed at what time. I might as well share a small story. the very second race, I believe in 2017, when I was crewing for Bharat, his second car broke down. And so the brakes were not working in that vehicle. So, and one of our crew members went ahead and was riding, was supporting Bharat, and the rest of the 90 kilometers of the way were, we had a car stuck at the roadside. The brakes were not working, the AC wasn't working, the power steering wasn't working. Car was moving, but it was very heavy and one couldn't brake. So we had to use the handbrake. And this was at the edge of Goa border. And the only service station, Tata service station, was in Margao, which was the nearest. Now, we couldn't tell Bharat, because that was our fear. We didn't know the rider enough then. We couldn't tell him that the car had broke down. We feared that he might just give up at that point, worrying about his car or worrying about us if we plan to bring that car till Margao. So our engineer's crew informed him that Darshan had upset stomach and uska tatti nahi ruk raha hai. So he has to stop the vehicle at all time, and that is not available as an option. So you have to bear with me and finish this race, and then we can talk about it later. So we seized all the communication with the other vehicle. We barely managed to get our car till Madgaon in the evening. By the time we reached the service station, he had already finished for an hour, and then we had informed him that the car had broken down. We couldn't risk your race because of that. So these are the small things. Again, this worked. It might not have worked. Maybe in your case, it might not be the best choice of thing. But then again, the crew has to understand the rider enough to get things done from him, which is finishing the race in the whatever plan A, B, C, whatever option that you have at that point of time. Right. There's another thing that I wanted to tell you guys, is that while creating this team, one needs to understand exactly if these guys are gonna gel up with each other in good enough time or not. Because everything might go as per plan, but then if no one is happy in the crew in a multi-day event, it just crops up at the end of the race, and then that's not the best place to be, even in the car or in the crew. And then I've seen, of course, I've read and I've heard from Divya about the experiences that people have had in Race Across America. I don't know for any such experiences in India, but in RAM, there have been instances that because of the infighting, a couple of people were just left at the roadside, and then they were asked to just go home. They do not have to do anything with the race, just F off from here, and this don't want to see your faces. Yes, Rutvik?
Just to add to that, I also know a crew who just abandoned their racer because they're done with the shit. They're like, we're going, bye-bye. Here's my car. I'm out of here. So it's up to racers to keep their calm and
as recently as in 2019, I believe, this has happened to an Austrian rider, a good friend of ours. Couldn't finish the race because of crew infighting.
These things totally happen. Thanks a lot, Darshan, for sharing that. And just wanted to make one small point over here that the racers, like he described, the racers can and do come with their own personalities, their motivation sometimes. And I know this, that in my BRMs, when I had some anger about some other issue, I actually rode better. So it's okay that racers have these things going on. The thing is that you should go in prepared. From what I would tell the racers is, just please be aware of this, of how very abrasive attitude with your crew is not going to work for you. Because if a crew member is easygoing and accepts what you're saying, it's okay. But if you piss somebody off in your crew and you want that person to be driving behind you day and night and doing your seva and making sure you're well fed food, you are actually going to end up having compromised that. So you've got to build on that for sure for the racers. The other thing is that this kind of behavior is 100% not acceptable from crew members. So from a crew chief point of view or a crew point of view, this kind of attitude can't work in your crew. Racer ka to fir bhi chalta hai. people will accept it, but from the crew. So when you choose your crew, you make sure that, like, anyway, Sapna has shared wonderfully all the things. Sapna, can we have you? Can we see you also?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, thank you, Darshan. Thanks, Rutvik, and thank you so much, Sapna, for sharing such great experience between the three of you that you have shared today with everybody. Rutvik, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to reinforce Darshan's point that, having someone with a level head in an ambitious crew is extremely important, because as we discussed about the accident that Srinivas had, we had like extremely ambitious army men as our crew. So the crew members that were actually driving the vehicle and in the vehicle had an actual plan to lift up the car and take it off the road before Srini came through the turn, and they actually tried doing that. But someone just called me and they're like, "Oh, we have had a crash, but don't worry, we are just lifting up the vehicle and taking it off the road so Srini can't see it." I'm like, guys, just him seeing the vehicle is the last thing I'm worrying about. What I'm worrying about is if you're, well and
That
safe.
will be, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, gung ho attitude. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Are there any questions? I think we've covered.
I have one. Amol.
Yes,
Amol.
yes, Amol, tell me.
Sorry again.
No issue.
Okay, it's just like in rendering, we don't have any privilege. Okay. In DC, I do have privilege, so it's an advantage for me as a rider. Just enlighten me in that way. You understand my question?
No, I lost you a little bit. Can you repeat that?
So when you say privilege, does that mean that you have someone at your will to provide you with things?
Yes. So actually rendering में कैसा होता है कि अपने को सब कुछ तो अपना अपना करना होता है, बाहर का कोई नहीं रहना. यहाँ पे हमारे साथ में मेरा पूरा एक क्रू है जिसको मुझे यूज करना है एज ए राइडर, ठीक है ना. तो अगर मुझे अच्छे से राइड करना है और जीतना है, तो मैं उसे इफिशिएंटली कैसे यूज करूं, ये मुझे जानना है.
You want me to answer or you want
anyone can answer. I have one more question. I will ask other question also. Other
Sure.
question I always heard कि अगर हाँ मैंने BRM 600 का BRM मैंने 30 hours में किया है, 36 hour में किया है, तो जो मेरे crew member है Anirudh, he is from Nagpur, he is a very good rider and he's a very good personality too. He always said like BRM is different and DC is different. I really want to understand from you, because you also said same thing, ठीक है ना, BRM is totally different. So being having this privilege also, why it's different and how, what is the, it's really, I can't understand that thing.
Who wants to take the first question?
I think I might take a jab at it. Maybe Kabir also might chip in. But from what you have mentioned, Amol, when you are doing 600 BRM, it is a completely different this thing. A game, क्योंकि इसमें क्या हो जाता है, that is, you know exactly what you're getting into. आपको पता है your what is expected out of you at what kilometers, because you have practiced enough. You know your bike enough so that you can mend it. You know exactly what you need to eat and what you need to drink at what times. ठीक है. But while doing a race, your goals are completely different. Your goal is not to just finish it, say, under 30 hours. It will be, you will be looking at other riders who are like going past you. And then you would want to chase them. Because isko kitna bhi aap todo race ko, on the D day, something or the other will go slightly differently, and then you will be off in that direction कि छह कैसे आगे चला गया, साला आधा घंटे यहाँ पे लेट हो गया, वहाँ पे 15 मिनट निकल गए. And then because of that, it just piles up in say 6 or 7 hours, and then you are completely off. कि मेरे क्रू से मेरी ये bare minimum expectations है यार, कुछ नहीं करना है, पानी देना है, खाना देना है, इतना क्यों तुम तकलीफ दे रहे हो. But then the crew has their own mind to it. As I said, it is good to have a learned crew with you who would know exactly what to give you at what times. And primarily it just comes to hydration. Food का भी there is a component, but DC में इतना ज़्यादा नहीं impact करेगा food unless and until you are having too much of food. or bilkul bhi nahi, then those are like two extremes. If you're not doing that, then it is okay. But if you're with your addition, it is most likely that the things might go haywire. Of course, you would have certain amount of expectations. मान लो आपने 30 घंटे में BRM कर ली, तो आइडियल तो ये है कि DC का ही रूट कर लो, लेकिन DC का रूट BRM में है नहीं. But DC का route is also something that अगर कितना भी आप रेकी कर लोगे, on the D day there will be certain amount of things that will impact your whole thought process, and it will be a different thing. So ideal thing is to have to treat not just these people as मेरे साथ में आए हैं पानी और खाने देने, treat them as your team members, and it's a team effort. If you're able to do that, gel up with these people enough so that they know exactly what is expected out of them at what time and how would you be reacting to it, then it is a better cohesive team to ensure that you are doing your best to achieve whatever targets that you're setting.
So, Amol, to just tell you one thing is that, and this is something that I tell all randonneurs who are coming into doing ultra cycling, that when you're doing breves and you have to stop and get your own food and water, everything, you are actually getting rest during that time. So, which when you come in for Deccan Cliffhanger, now your entire training and your mind has to shift from that. So we don't realize it when we're doing a breve that every time we're taking a break, we're getting rest also. And then you get back on your bike and you keep riding. So in DC, you don't have that option. So if you're taking only like a few minute stops and you're really compacting your off saddle time, वो rest भी तो नहीं मिल रही है. So you have to be able to keep cycling without the rest to achieve those timings for Deccan Cliffhanger. The second thing is that Deccan Cliffhanger is a race, and I tell people that you won't realize it, but that adrenaline rush and all these things also have an effect on you, your performance in the beginning. There's an excitement when you come to the registration, you meet everybody. So all these things also play a part during DC, and it is a tough race. There's no doubt about that. Either of you wanted to add anything? Kabir, did you want to say something?
I was saying that crew को साइकिल चलाना छोड़ के सब कुछ बता सकता है. So जो भी काम है crew को बोलो, जो भी चाहिए पूछो, except साइकिल चलाने के लिए. So yeah, you can get that privilege to ask anything.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Kabir.
And we have Kapil over here. So we had an interesting situation during Ultra Spice, in which Kapil, with all his crew and everything, he felt very let down. Hi, Kapil. So, because Ultra Spice mein, Kapil was doing RQ with his crew, 1200 kilometers, and then we side by side, we also had the self-supported race going on. And Kapil was shocked that the self-supported racers are, one Bharat, I think, basically reached the turnaround point before Kapil. So I think that was very demotivating for Kapil, but the race is a very different race for self-supported. The self-supported racers know कि 600 किलोमीटर कैसे भी करके खत्म करने के बाद मेरे को रात भर सोने को मिलेगा, which RQ वालों का वो option नहीं है. तो वो it changes your strategy, it changes your approach. So how's your prep going, Kapil?
Yeah, it's going not as per the plan, because we have a regular office. So I'm going daily office. So I have joined new company. But
Okay.
yeah, still I'm coping with these things, and I'm trying to match up that training.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going as per the situation.
Okay. Good to see you.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions.
Thanks. Actually, that answer, it's really very good answers from everyone.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, we'll wrap up. Thank you so much, Sapna. Thank you, Kabir, for training Sapna so well. And thanks, Rutvik. Thanks, Darshan. This was a very good session on everything related to crewing.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
informative. Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Ram.
Bye.
Yeah, Ram.
Hey, Aram, bye.
जाओ क्लाइंबिंग करना है उधर अभी।
हाँ करेंगे ना, ट्राई करेंगे।
अभी कबीर को कुछ तो चाहिए ना।
मैं
कबीर
इतना
को
खुश
पकड़ेंगे।
है कि यार कोई टीम है, मतलब चलो अच्छा है अभी।
नहीं मैं तो कॉल करने वाला था कबीर को कि आओ क्रू करो, पता चला कि रेस ही कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा
किसी ने तो बोला था क्रू करेंगे।
मैं
I
तेरे
have
को
this
बोलने वाला था
plan.
कि तू चल अभी साथ में।
तेरे को क्रू चाहिए होगा तो सपना को लेना, कबीर को नहीं लेना।
No, I have this mega plan wherein I want all of these racers to be
नहीं
crewing for
अभी तक
someone.
हाँ, राइट, फुल
एक
फेल हो
काम करना
जाएगा।
यार, हम भरत
Take it
सर
from
अगर
me.
नहीं कर रहे हैं
No,
तो
if
भरत
it
सर
comes
को
to
पूछ
that,
लेना।
I'm ready to race for DC with all of you crewing for me.
हो गया
भरत सर को
खत्म।
तूने बहुत क्रू किया है, सो इट्स नाउ हिज टाइम टू
क्रू फॉर
गिव इट रिटर्न टू यू। हाँ, सो उनको पूछ ले एक बार।
Yeah. Darshan, all set to ask Bharat to come?
Sure, I've asked him enough times. हाँ हाँ, जब भी तो बोले ऐसे ही आंसर आता है, बट मेरी हिम्मत नहीं है।
मैंने क्या बोला था? अभी
नहीं,
मैंने बोला
हिम्मत
ना,
नहीं है राइड
कि
करने के लिए, ऑफ कोर्स।
तेरा रेसर्स को वो एटीट्यूड होना ठीक है, वही रेसर तेरे क्रू में आएगा तो खलास खत्म।
थोड़ी देर बाद राइडर को निकाल के खुद भरत से चलाना चालू कर देंगे। ऐसे कोई क्लाइम करता है क्या?
ऐसे
रुको मैं
थोड़ी
चला
चला
के
देगा,
दिखाता
मैं
हूँ।
बताता हूँ।
Finish.
Alright, guys. Good chatting with you.
All
It's
right.
almost
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night. Bye bye.
bye.
All right, bye bye.